And now you know why they called it the emotion engine. Welcome back to another episode of TheWorryWartGamer, moving from the PlayStation 1, the birth of really great 3D graphics, to the PlayStation 2 and all the promise and all the hype, the emotion engine. The PlayStation 2 is going to usher in breathtaking visuals, a leap that we had never seen before. And I miss those leaps. We don't get them as big or more profound as going from that generation to the PlayStation 2 generation, the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2. And the game that solidifies that jump for me was Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, the first game, Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1, had a moment in it that I just sort of stopped and I was shocked. I said, things were different. Things were changing in video games when the guards saw my footprints and actually stopped and said, whose footprints are these? I was completely and totally blown away. You have to put yourself in that time period. There was nothing like that. Nothing had happened like that in video games from the 8-bit era or even before that. It was just absolutely incredible, and it was pushing 3D. It was the best looking game back then. But the PlayStation 2, the hype around it, and the build-up to this game, it was such a special time, and I miss those feelings of just wonder and excitement. Now, it's hard to convey just how amazing or how impactful this game was, because we were going from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. There was a ton of rumors. There were leaked screenshots. You would buy every gaming magazine just to get a taste of what was coming. This was going to be the greatest game ever created. And Hideo Kojima was pushing boundaries, as he always does, and it was just a special time. The PlayStation 2, we bought into all that marketing hype. Again, emotion engine. It was going to sort of revolutionize graphics in general. It would kill the PC outright. And then Metal Gear Solid released, and everybody was kind of like, oh my God, how is this running on a PlayStation 2? Look at it today. It still looks incredible. Look at just the subtle animation, the way Snake moves, or the shadowing and the lighting. Yes, this is a bit cleaned up from the PlayStation 2 version, but all the assets are here. This was the game that we got on the PlayStation 2. And going from that PS1, those 3D graphics, those sort of the birth of sort of polygons and 3D gaming on the PlayStation 1 to this was the biggest jump I can almost ever remember in video gaming, from one console to the next, from one generation to the next. You really have to have lived through the 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit era to see that evolution of games from those different generations to appreciate how big of a leap this was. With the PlayStation 1, there were tons of games that were just so exciting because it was that 3D era. We were going from these 2D sprite-based games, which are absolutely fantastic, to these more open and realistic styled games. And there were a lot of great games. There was a lot of experimentation, and there was just a lot of crap. But the promise was always there of evolution and moving towards a more cinematic film-like feel. That was the dream. Realistic characters moving around in environments you didn't have to imagine anymore with the 2D based sprites, even though I think you do lose a bit of magic going fully 3D from those 2D games, because imagination is part of just video gaming in general. And when you don't have to do that anymore, when you're actually seeing characters and actually seeing worlds and you don't have to sort of envision it for yourself, you do lose something. But you can't stop the forward progression of technology. And when this game launched, I want to talk about, first off, just the trailers and the leaked information and things that we were seeing back then. You just couldn't believe it. I remember seeing a leaked screenshot in, I think it was an Electronic Gaming Monthly, where they had a little off-screen photo, and I thought, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that's running on a PlayStation 2, period. Not a console game, it's impossible. And then the trailer dropped, and everyone still couldn't believe that this was actually real-time gameplay on a PlayStation 2, but then you can see that the camera angle was changing, and they demonstrated it in a way that you instantly knew that this was real. This was what you were going to play, and that's when it hit everyone. This was the biggest leap. Oh my God, look at that again. I'm sorry. This was the biggest leap ever. I mean, PlayStation 1 had Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill. Let's talk about those two IPs right there. Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 was sort of the pinnacle of 3D graphics at the time on a console. People were blown away by it. Oh, the difference between that game and this game is light years. It's not even generations. It's not even like one console generation to the next. I can't even convey to you the amount of just awe between those two games and those two generations. Even Silent Hill, something like Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation 2, completely blew everybody away. It was that leap. It was that feeling that you were finally moving into a brand new, not only generation, but sort of a stratosphere. You've never seen anything like this before. That's how big this leap was from the PlayStation 1 generation to the PlayStation 2 generation with consoles. Now, of course, there was that huge controversy with switching, the old bait and switch, the old switcheroo where you're playing as Solid Snake and then all of a sudden, Raiden? Who the hell is Raiden? Why do I care about Raiden? It's kind of like that sort of bait and switch where I want to play as Master Chief, but there's this guy named Locke? What? But anyway, I don't know if we'll ever feel this or if younger generations will ever experience just the complete and total excitement and awe going from one generation to the next and seeing this leap in technology. Now, with Horizon Forbidden West, I literally thought I was looking at a PlayStation 5 game. When they first showed the trailer, they didn't tell anybody it was a cross-generation title, so there's still that sense of, wow, I'm seeing things I haven't seen before with technology, but it's more of an iterative effect where you're seeing better lighting, better textures, better animation, a little bit more foliage, things like that, maybe AI, but just the giant leap between generations that occurred going from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, those generations, every console within those generations making that leap was unbelievable, and I don't know if we'll ever experience that again. What do you think? Did you live through that generational leap? Do you have memories of it? Do you think we'll ever see that again? I think things like VR and new ways to engage with games will make us feel sort of that wonder again, but I don't know if we'll ever feel that sort of wow moment unless, of course, maybe holograms are beamed directly into our brains or we're transported physically somewhere else, but that's probably like, millions of years away. Other than that, I loved this generation and I loved just the excitement of what was possible going from what I was used to now something unbelievable. Let me know what you think down there in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.